I used to believe in fairy tales. Or at least, I thought I did. When Jack and I got married 6 years ago, everything felt perfect, like we had it all figured out. I remember our wedding day as though it was yesterday, the way the sun poured through the windows, casting everything in a golden glow. I walked down the aisle, feeling untouchable, my heart pounding in sync with my steps. The vows we exchanged seemed more like promises to ourselves than mere words. I remember feeling so sure that nothing could tear us apart. I looked at Jack, and in that moment, I thought he was the one person in the world I could always trust. There was no fear, no doubt, just us against the world, but I'm learning that nothing is as certain as we think. It started with something so small that I almost ignored it. I was putting away laundry when I found the hotel receipt in Jack's coat pocket. It wasn't just any receipt. It was from a weekend I thought he'd been working. I wasn't sure what hurt more, the fact that I found it, or the fact that Jack hadn't told me about it. I stood there, holding the receipt, my mind racing. I tried to push it aside, convinced it was nothing. Maybe it was a business trip, maybe he stayed overnight to finish something, anything to explain why he hadn't mentioned it, but the nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach wouldn't go away. I waited for him to come home that evening, hoping it was all just some misunderstanding. But as I saw him step through the door, that small, stupid receipt felt like it was weighing me down. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile, trying to keep my voice steady. I didn't want him to see my hands shaking. "How was your day?" "Same as usual," he replied, slipping his shoes off and heading toward the kitchen. I watched him, my heart beating louder than my thoughts. The receipt was burning a hole in my hand, and I knew I had to ask him about it, but I didn't know how to start. I wanted to confront him, to scream, but I knew that would only make everything worse. Instead, I settled for casual. "Too casual, by the way," I said, holding the receipt out to him, my voice barely a whisper. "What's this?" Jack looked at it, then back at me, and there it was, his eyes, darting for a second, like I'd caught him doing something wrong. It was so brief, I almost thought I imagined it. "Almost, oh, that," he said, his voice too calm, too rehearsed. "I stayed over for a work thing. It's no big deal." I tried to breathe. "A work thing?" I echoed, confused. "But you didn't tell me about it. You didn't mention you were staying overnight." He shrugged, like it was nothing, like my concern was an inconvenience. I didn't think it mattered. I was busy, you know how it is. I stared at him, waiting for something more, anything that could make this make sense. But there was nothing. He wasn't looking at me now, his focus on something else, like I wasn't even there. "I just wish you would have told me," I said softly, trying not to let the tears show. "It feels different, Jack." He sighed, his frustration clear. "Emma, don't make this into something it's not. It's nothing." I wanted to argue, to push him, to make him see what I was seeing, but I couldn't bring myself to say the words. Instead, I nodded, because I didn't know what else to do. He gave me a quick kiss on the cheek, his touch barely there, and walked away, leaving me with that damn receipt in my hand. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying that moment over and over in my head, his words, his lack of explanation, the way he brushed me off like I was being unreasonable. The feeling of betrayal was a weight pressing down on me, but I couldn't put my finger on why. It wasn't just the receipt. It wasn't just the hotel or the fact that he hadn't told me. It was something bigger. Something I couldn't explain. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself that I was overreacting. But in the quiet of the night, I knew, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very, very wrong. The next few days felt like a blur. I kept looking for signs, anything that would confirm what I already knew, or maybe what I was too scared to acknowledge. Jack was distant. He was quieter than usual, spending long hours at the office or in his study. I found myself constantly searching for him, trying to see what he was doing, trying to find any clue that would explain what had happened. I wasn't just waiting for the truth, I was desperately hoping I was wrong. One night, I stumbled upon something. It wasn't much, but it was enough to send me into a panic. I found a message on Jack's phone, a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Had a great time this weekend. Can't wait to see you again. Zoxo." I froze, my heart stopping in my chest. I knew in that moment. There was no denying it. My world, the world I'd built with Jack, was crumbling. I stood there, the phone in my hand, not knowing what to do next. The truth hit me like a punch to the stomach, and I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone against the wall. But instead, I just sat there, feeling the weight of everything we'd built together crash down on me. It was like I didn't even know who Jack was anymore. Maybe I never really did. When Jack came home that night, I couldn't look at him the same way. I didn't want to hear his excuses or listen to his lies. I didn't want to pretend everything was fine anymore. I wanted answers. "Jack," I said, my voice shaking. "Who's she?" He stopped in his tracks, the color draining from his face. But I didn't need an answer. The guilt was written all over him. Emma, it's not what you think, he started, but I didn't care anymore. Don't lie to me, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Don't pretend this isn't happening. I know what you've been doing. His silence spoke volumes, and just like that, the trust one had in him, our perfect life, was shattered. I didn't know what came next. I didn't know if I could ever forgive him. But I knew one thing for sure, everything had changed. I couldn't stop thinking about that damn receipt. It had been 2 days since I found it, and I still couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Something in the air felt thick, heavy with secrets. Jack acted like everything was fine, like nothing had changed. But I felt it, the distance, the tension in his every word, in every glance he didn't give me. I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe I was just paranoid. Maybe I'd been watching too many crime shows. But when I woke up that morning, I found myself staring at his phone, lying innocently on the kitchen counter. I couldn't help myself. I reached for it. I knew I shouldn't, our trust was the only thing left, and it was already broken, but I couldn't stop. I unlocked it with the familiarity of someone who had no business going through it, but here I was. The first thing I saw made my stomach flip. Messages from a woman named Sophia. There were just a few, but they were enough. The first one made my blood run cold. Can't wait to see you tonight, winky face. Hope you're ready to make it a special weekend, babe. Babe. I felt my hands start to shake, but I couldn't look away. I scrolled through more. You always know how to make me feel so good. You're so hard to resist, Jack. I felt like the room was spinning. Was I really seeing this? My mind tried to make sense of it, but all I could think was, why didn't he tell me? I pulled my hand away, dropping the phone like it had burned me. My heart was pounding so hard it was like it was trying to escape my chest. The pain hit me like a wave. It was a sharp, searing pain, a mixture of betrayal and humiliation. But mostly just confusion. Was this happening? Was he really cheating on me? Was this what I had been afraid of? I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. I couldn't confront him like this. I had to think. I couldn't let him see how much this was breaking me, not yet. Not until I had answers. But how could I even ask him about this? What was I supposed to say? Hey, I saw your text messages, and by the way, who's Sophia? The words felt like they'd burn my tongue. When Jack walked through the door later that night, I still hadn't figured out what to say. He kissed me, his usual quick peck, but this time, I didn't feel the spark I once did. It was like I was looking at a stranger, not the man I married. Hey, he said, dropping his briefcase on the couch and unbuttoning his shirt. How was your day? Fine, I managed, my voice colder than I wanted it to sound. Yours? Same old, he said, heading toward the kitchen. You know how it is. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone at his head, show him the evidence, demand the truth. But I didn't. I swallowed the words that threatened to spill out and focused on the simmering rage I could feel bubbling just beneath the surface. I need to talk to you, I said, my voice unsteady. He paused, his back still to me. What about? I hesitated. The words felt wrong. Too much, too soon. But I couldn't sit on this any longer. Who's Sophia? He didn't turn around, but I saw the tension in his shoulders. The hesitation in his step. It was only a second, but it felt like an eternity. What do you mean? The texts. Who is she? I could hear my voice shaking, and it made me angry. Why was he making me feel like this? His voice was too calm. Emma, it's nothing. She's just a friend from work. She's a little too friendly, maybe. But it's harmless. I stood there, staring at his back. Did he really think I was that stupid? Harmless? Jack, babe? Can't wait to see you tonight? You call that harmless? He turned around, looking slightly defensive. Come on, Emma. You're blowing this out of proportion. She's just flirtatious. It's nothing. Nothing, I felt my heart drop. Nothing? I repeated, my voice rising now. You didn't think it would be worth mentioning? You didn't think I should know you've been flirting with her? Emma, it's not what you think. He stepped closer, like he was trying to calm me down, but it just made me more furious. You're overreacting. I don't even like her like that. She's just someone I work with. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to so badly. But I knew better. Now. I saw the way he looked at me when he said it, like I was the one with the problem, like I was the crazy one. Like I was imagining things. Are you serious? I asked, my voice low, biting. How am I supposed to believe you now, Jack? How? This isn't just some harmless little friendship. You're cheating on me. And you're lying about it. Again. He sighed, running a hand through his hair, looking frustrated. Emma, please. You know I love you, right? This isn't a big deal. I'm sorry, okay? I shouldn't have let it go this far, but it's nothing. Nothing. He kept saying that word, and every time, it cut me deeper. You don't get it, I whispered, backing away. I could feel the tears burning behind my eyes, but I wasn't going to let him see them. I don't know you anymore. You're lying. To me, Jack. I'm your wife. I wanted to say more, so much more, but the words were tangled in my throat. I wanted to hurt him the way he was hurting me, wanted to make him understand, but I didn't know how. Emma, please, he said, softer now, like he was trying to reach me. Don't do this. I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear. I love you. Love. He loved me. I almost laughed, but I stopped myself. The truth hit me harder than any of his lies could ever do. I can't do this anymore, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. He stepped forward again, but I took a step back. Emma, we can work this out. Please. I shook my head, the panic starting to set in. What was I doing? What was I supposed to do now? I need space, Jack. I can't, Emma, no, I said, my voice firmer this time. You've lied to me, over and over. I don't even know who you are anymore. He opened his mouth to speak again, but I couldn't hear him. My mind was too full of the rage and hurt, of the pain that had begun to consume me. I turned and walked away, my heart breaking with every step. The days after that conversation felt like I was drowning in my own thoughts. I couldn't think clearly. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know if I was angry enough to leave or if I was just lost in the overwhelming pain of it all, but there was one thing I did know. I couldn't let this go. I couldn't walk away without answers, without something that could explain how my entire life had been built on lies, and so, I started watching him. Every little movement, every word that came out of his mouth. I needed to know the truth, even if it destroyed me. I couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, after Jack's pathetic excuses, I could barely breathe. I wanted to scream, but the words felt locked behind my teeth. How could he be so casual? How could he sit there, looking me in the eyes, and act like everything was normal? I couldn't do it anymore. I had to know the truth, and no more excuses. My stomach twisted with anxiety, but I didn't care. I followed him. I didn't even tell him I was going out. I couldn't bear the thought of him knowing where I was headed, knowing what I was doing. My heart was pounding in my chest as I sat in my car, watching the street. My hands gripped the wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. I told myself it was stupid. I told myself I was better than this. But when I saw him pull out of the driveway, I couldn't stop myself. I had to see for myself. I followed him at a safe distance, trying to stay calm, trying to breathe, but every minute felt like an eternity. He wasn't even aware of me, his car weaving through the city streets, completely unaware of the storm brewing in my chest. Eventually, he pulled into a hotel parking lot. My heart nearly stopped. No. It couldn't be. I parked a little ways down the street, my pulse hammering in my ears. I felt like I was suffocating. I watched him walk towards the hotel, his steps so casual, so normal, like everything was fine. Like we weren't falling apart. I waited, trying to calm myself down, trying to tell myself it didn't mean anything. But then, she walked into the hotel. Sophia. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even think. She walked in, her hand brushing his arm. He smiled at her. It was so natural, so easy. The way he looked at her, the way he touched her. I could feel the world tilting off its axis. I felt everything slip away, my trust, my marriage, my dignity. I couldn't move. My entire body was frozen, and I couldn't stop watching. I didn't want to watch, but I couldn't look away. I watched him laugh with her, watched them walk into the hotel room together, side by side, like they were the only two people in the world. I was shaking now, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. I felt nauseous. Like I might throw up. My stomach twisted violently as the images kept flashing in my mind. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Instead, all I felt was a deep, aching emptiness that seemed to swallow me whole. I don't know how long I stayed there, but I eventually drove back home, feeling like I was floating, like I wasn't even in my own body. When I walked through the door, I felt like I was walking into someone else's life. Jack was sitting on the couch, flipping through a magazine, as if nothing had happened. He didn't even look up when I walked in. I stood there, watching him. Unable to speak, unable to do anything but feel everything inside me break into pieces. After what felt like an eternity, I finally spoke. You're a liar. He looked up, his eyebrows furrowing. What? I could feel the tears burning behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not yet. You and Sophia. I saw you. I saw you walk into that hotel with her. I saw everything. His face went blank for a moment. Then, he stood up, his voice immediately defensive. Emma, you've got it all wrong. It's not what you think. You're being paranoid. Paranoid? I choked out, my chest tight with rage. Paranoid? You're cheating on me, Jack. And you think I'm the one with the problem? He stepped toward me, reaching out like he was trying to comfort me, but I couldn't let him touch me. I backed away, my heart pounding. Don't. Don't touch me. Don't you dare make this my fault. He sighed like he was exhausted. Emma, please, calm down. It's really not a big deal. She's just someone I work with. We were having a conversation. That's it. I felt like I was going to explode. A conversation? A conversation? You're lying. You walked into that hotel room with her, Jack. You're sleeping with her. You've been lying to me, again. For God's sake, how long has this been going on? His eyes narrowed, and he put his hands in his pockets, clearly frustrated. I told you, it's nothing. You're blowing this out of proportion. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. I couldn't stop the tears from falling now. They burned down my face as I stood there, shaking. You don't get it. You really don't. You don't understand how much this is killing me. Jack's face softened, but it wasn't the softness I was hoping for. It was pity. He looked at me like I was broken, like I was overreacting, like I was the crazy one for being hurt. He stepped closer, his voice dropping, but it didn't soothe me. I didn't want to hurt you. You have to believe me. It's not what you think. It's nothing. Nothing, I spat, my voice trembling with anger and despair. I was nothing to you, wasn't I? You've been having an affair, Jack, and you can't even be honest about it. You don't even care. Emma, please, no. I screamed, cutting him off. Don't tell me it's not a big deal. Don't tell me you didn't want to hurt me. You already have. You already have, Jack. I turned away, my whole body shaking with rage and sorrow. I felt like I was suffocating, like everything I'd known had been a lie. How could he look at me like that, like I was the one at fault? I'm so sorry, Emma, he said, his voice softer now, but it didn't matter. Please just let it go. We can fix this. I'm not going to leave you. I felt something snap inside of me, the last shred of hope, the last flicker of trust. I looked at him, my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. You don't get to fix this. You've already broken it. He opened his mouth to speak, but I didn't care anymore. I couldn't stand hearing his voice. I turned and walked away from him, my steps slow but heavy, as if every part of me was dragging behind. I couldn't sleep that night. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think about anything other than him, other than Sophia, and how completely shattered my world was. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was everything. The lies, the gaslighting, the way he could look at me and pretend everything was fine while he destroyed us both. I wasn't sure what was worse, knowing the truth or knowing he still didn't care. I was losing control. And I wasn't sure if I could ever get it back. It's amazing how quickly things can change. 1 minute, I was living my life, thinking everything was fine, and the next, I'm sitting here, pretending nothing's wrong when everything inside me is breaking apart. Jack's been gone more than usual. We don't talk. He doesn't apologize. I can feel the distance, and it's suffocating. I don't even know why I'm still here, why I haven't packed my bags and walked out the door. Maybe I'm scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of admitting that my marriage, the thing I thought was the foundation of my life, is a lie. I try to convince myself that I'm okay. I try to focus on work, on little distractions, but nothing works. Every time I close my eyes, I see Jack with her. Every time I hear his voice, I hear the lies he's been feeding me. It's all I can think about, and it's eating me alive. I don't talk to anyone about it. I can't. I don't want anyone to know. I don't want them to look at me like I'm weak, like I failed. So, I keep it to myself. I smile when people ask how I'm doing. I say things are fine, even though I'm falling apart, but Rachel's been noticing. She's my best friend, and she knows me better than anyone. She can see it. I can see the concern in her eyes every time we talk, every time we meet. She's always been the one who can read me like a book. Emma, she says one afternoon, sitting across from me at the coffee shop, her voice low, what's going on with you? You've been acting weird. You're not yourself. I try to laugh it off. What are you talking about? I'm fine. She doesn't buy it. No, you're not. You've barely answered my texts. You cancel plans. She stops herself, eyes narrowing. You're shutting people out, Emma. What's going on? I open my mouth to deny it, but I can't. The truth is right there, sitting on the tip of my tongue, suffocating me. The tears I've been holding back for days start to sting my eyes. I blink, but I can't stop them from coming. Jax. He's cheating on me, Rachel. My voice cracks, and I hate myself for letting her see me like this. Her face goes pale, and she reaches across the table, grabbing my hand. Emma, no? No way. Are you sure? I nod, unable to speak anymore. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want her to see me like this. But Rachel's always been the one person who won't let me hide from the truth. I saw him, I whisper. With her. Sophia. I followed him, and I saw them go into a hotel together. I didn't want to believe it. I still don't. But I can't keep pretending everything's fine. Rachel's grip tightens on my hand, and I hear the pain in her voice. Why didn't you tell me sooner, Em? Why didn't you say something? I pull my hand away from hers, rubbing my forehead. Because I don't know what to do, Rachel. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to fix this. I feel broken. Like everything I thought I knew about us, about him, was a lie. Her eyes soften, and she leans in closer. You can't fix it if you keep burying it, Emma. You've got to confront him. You've got to stand up for yourself, you deserve more than this. But I can't hear her. Not really. It's too hard to imagine confronting Jack. It's too painful to picture myself, sitting across from him, asking him to admit what he's done. I don't even know what I'd say. What good would it do? I don't know, Rachel, I murmur. I don't know. She doesn't push me. She just looks at me, the concern still heavy in her eyes. What are you going to do? I stare at the table, my mind spinning, and all I can think is, I need answers. I need closure, but I don't want it from Jack. He's already proven he doesn't care. I need to know why. I need to know from her. I think I need to talk to Sophia, I say quietly, the words almost foreign to me. I need to ask her why. I need to know what she's doing with him, what they're doing. I need the truth. Rachel's eyes widen. In shock. Emma, no. You can't go after her. It won't give you the answers you want. But I'm already set on it. I don't care. I can't keep sitting here, not knowing. I need to do something. She sighs, exhaling slowly. I just don't want you to make things worse. Don't let this destroy you, Em. Don't let her win. Her words linger in the air, and for a second, I think maybe she's right. Maybe confronting Sophia won't give me the closure I need. But I'm not thinking straight. I'm desperate. For something, anything, that might stop the pain, the endless questions spinning in my mind. I don't care, I repeat. I need answers. Rachel looks at me, shaking her head. Just be careful, okay? Don't do something you'll regret. I nod, but I know I'm already too far gone. I need to see her, confront her, and force the truth out of her. I'm not sure if it will help, but I can't keep living like this. I need to feel like I have control over something. I pay for my coffee, not even really remembering the conversation anymore. All I can think about is what's next. Sophia. I need to see her. I need to ask her everything, get the truth, and maybe, just maybe, that will make everything hurt less. As I leave the cafe, my heart feels heavy, like it's dragging me down, but I don't know how else to fix this. Maybe confronting Sophia will give me the answers I need. Maybe it will be the first step to getting my life back, but deep down, a small part of me wonders if I'm just making things worse. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe an apology, or some sign that she had even the slightest shred of remorse. But I walked into that cafe with every intention of confronting Sophia, and the moment I saw her, I realized how much I had underestimated the depth of my own pain. She sat there, at the corner table, looking exactly how I imagined she would, composed, confident, a woman who had no idea of the devastation she had caused. She didn't even look up when I approached. She was too busy staring at her phone, her fingers tapping away as if she didn't have a care in the world. I stood there for a few seconds, trying to breathe, trying to steady myself. My hands were shaking, and my chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. I forced my feet to move, taking slow, deliberate steps until I was standing right next to her. Sophia, I said, my voice sharp and cold. She looked up then, her expression blank at first, like she hadn't seen me coming. Emma, she replied, her tone casual, almost bored. I didn't think you'd show up. I felt the anger building inside me. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, but I kept my voice steady. I wanted to hear it from you. I wanted to hear why you're doing this. Why you thought it was okay to sleep with my husband. Sophia didn't flinch. She didn't even seem surprised. It's not like that, she said, dismissively. Jack's the one who came after me. He's the one who started this. I'm just a woman looking for affection. You know how it is, right? Men are always looking for something more. I could feel my blood boiling, my face flushing with rage. I took a deep breath, trying to control myself. So that's your excuse? I asked, my voice tight. You're just looking for affection? You don't think about the damage you're doing? The lives you're ruining? Sophia leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms over her chest. I'm not the one who's married to him, am I? She said, her lips curling into a smirk. I didn't make any promises. I didn't take vows. I'm not the one who's been ignoring him for years. Her words hit me like a slap to the face. The sharpness of them cut deeper than I wanted to admit. But the more she spoke, the clearer it became. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't ashamed. She was justifying everything she'd done. She wasn't the victim here. I was. You have no idea what you're talking about, I said, my voice wavering for a second. You have no idea what it feels like to be betrayed like this. To have someone you love choose someone else. To see them walking into a hotel with someone else, someone you don't even know, and realizing they don't care about you. Sophia just shrugged, like it was all so trivial. You're making a bigger deal out of it than it is, she said, her tone indifferent. I didn't ask for this, but I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. Jack wanted me. He came after me, and we did what we did. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something at her, to make her feel the way I felt. But I just stood there, my chest tight, feeling all the anger and hurt swell inside me until I thought I might choke on it. You think it's that simple, don't you? I said, trying to keep my voice from breaking. You think you're just some random woman and that this doesn't affect anything? That you don't have any responsibility? You don't think this could ruin everything? My marriage, my life? She met my gaze for the first time, her eyes cold. I'm not the one ruining anything. You're the one holding on to a relationship that's falling apart. You're the one who can't see the truth. Jack's been miserable for a while. He's been telling me all about it, how things aren't the same between you two. Maybe you should start looking in the mirror. The words landed like a punch. My breath caught in my throat. Did he really tell her that? Did he really go to her and confess how miserable he was? Suddenly, the room felt too small. The air was too thick. I could barely see straight, the tears burning in my eyes, threatening to spill over. My hands were clenched into fists at my sides, but I couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. You're disgusting, I whispered, the anger and hurt mixing together into something unbearable. You know that, right? You're both disgusting. Sophia didn't flinch. She didn't apologize. She didn't care. She just looked at me like I was the problem, like I was the one who had done something wrong. It made my head spin. I'm sorry if this makes you feel bad, she said, her tone almost mocking. But I'm not sorry for what happened. I didn't do anything wrong. The coldness in her voice was like a dagger to my chest. This wasn't about her. This wasn't even about Jack. This was about me, about the life I thought I had, the marriage I thought was safe. And she didn't care at all. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even human to her. She was just an obstacle, a bump in the road to getting what she wanted. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand her anymore. I couldn't stand the way she talked to me, like I wasn't even a person, like I wasn't worth a damn. Fine, I said, my voice steady now, the tears I'd been holding back threatening to spill over. You win. You can have him. But don't think for a second that I'm going to let you destroy me. You don't get to have everything, Sophia. You don't get to take everything from me. She didn't respond, just sat there, the same cold look on her face. But for the first time since all this started, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't the victim anymore. I wasn't the woman who was broken and lost. I was done. I turned and walked out of the cafe, my heart pounding, but my mind clearer than it had been in weeks. I wasn't going to let Jack control me anymore. I wasn't going to let him or Sophia take my power. If he wanted her, then he could have her. But I wasn't going to stay here, begging for answers. I was going to take my life back, and if he wouldn't choose me, I would choose myself. I wasn't broken anymore. I was just getting started. I spent the next few days in a haze, a blur of emotions that didn't make sense. I hated him. I loved him. I wanted revenge, but I also wanted answers. I wanted closure, but I also wanted him to feel the pain I felt. I spent hours in my head, replaying everything over and over again, until my thoughts were like an endless loop, trapping me in the same pain. But then, something happened. I woke up one morning and realized I couldn't keep doing this. I couldn't keep drowning in this anger, in this pain. It wasn't helping me, it was just breaking me further. Jack had done enough damage, but I was the one who was letting it control me. And if I was ever going to move on, I had to take control back. So, I made a decision. I started going to therapy. At first, I didn't want to, didn't think I needed to. But I could feel the weight of it all, the anger and confusion and betrayal that had been consuming me, and I knew I had to do something about it. Sitting in that therapist's office, I felt like a fraud. I wanted to believe I could heal, but every part of me still felt like I was broken, like Jack had taken something from me that I would never get back. I don't even know where to start, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She gave me a kind smile, her eyes gentle. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Just tell me how you're feeling. I exhaled, trying to push past the lump in my throat. I don't even know what to feel anymore. I'm so angry. And I'm so hurt. But I still love him. And I hate that I still love him. She nodded, her expression understanding. It's okay to feel that way. Love doesn't disappear overnight. But it's important to acknowledge that you have to put yourself first now. Your healing is your responsibility, not his. I felt a sting in my chest. I knew she was right. But I didn't want to let go of the anger, the hurt. It felt like the only thing that kept me connected to what had happened, to what he'd done to me. Does it ever get easier? I asked, barely able to look her in the eyes. It does, she said softly. But it takes time. And it takes letting go. Not of your love, but of the need for revenge. Revenge won't heal you, Emma. Only you can do that. Her words settled into me, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe I wasn't completely lost. Maybe I could heal. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was starting to see a glimmer of light at the end of this tunnel. And that thought was enough to push me forward. Jack had no idea what was happening inside me. He didn't know I was seeing a therapist, trying to put the pieces of myself back together. He didn't know I was starting to rebuild, even as the memories of his betrayal still clung to me like a shadow. But Jack wasn't blind. I could see the change in him. His attempts to make things right were obvious. The gifts. The apologies. The flowers, the chocolates, the dinner dates he'd arrange, each one more hollow than the last. I could see the guilt on his face when he spoke to me, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't even close to enough. Emma, he said one night, his voice softer than it had been in weeks. I'm sorry. I messed up. I've been thinking about what we've been through, and I don't know how to make it right. But I want to try. I looked at him, standing in front of me with his sad, sorry eyes, and I couldn't bring myself to feel anything. Not anymore. I don't want your apologies, Jack, I said quietly, my voice firm. Your sorries don't fix anything. They're just words. He flinched, but I didn't care. I wasn't going to let him guilt trip me into forgiving him just because he was starting to feel bad. I was done letting him have control over my emotions. I'm sorry, he repeated, like it was the magic cure. Please, Emma. I've been an idiot. I know I hurt you. I know I messed up, but I want to make it right. I love you. I need you. I shook my head, the words stinging. You don't need me, Jack. You just don't want to lose what you have. You can't even admit what you did. You just want me to forgive you so you can feel better. Well, I'm not doing that anymore. His face twisted in frustration, but I stood my ground. You're sorry now, I continued, but where was this when I needed you? When you were with her? Where was your love then? Jack's silence spoke volumes. He couldn't answer. He couldn't explain away what he'd done. I'm not your second choice, Jack. I won't be your backup. I'm not a patch for your guilt. I let the words sink in before I said anything else. And I'm done waiting for you to choose me. I'm choosing myself. The silence that followed was heavy. Jack didn't say anything. He didn't try to convince me otherwise. He knew, deep down, that I wasn't the same woman anymore. The woman who would take him back with open arms. That woman was gone. I stood up, my eyes steady on his. I need to do this for me, Jack. I need to heal. And I can't do that if I'm still waiting for you to fix me. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The weight of everything was still there, the anger, the hurt, the loss. But there was something else, too. Something lighter, something that felt like a fresh start. I was letting go. Slowly, but I was letting go. I wasn't going to keep hanging on to the past. I wasn't going to let Jack's mistakes define my future. I was taking back control. And it was the most freeing thing I'd ever done. Jack could keep his apologies. I didn't need them. What I needed was myself. And for the first time in a long time, I was starting to feel like I might just get her back. I've been watching Jack for weeks now, and I can feel it. The change. He's no longer the man I married. His once confident, smooth demeanor is now a mask he can barely keep up. The man who used to walk into a room like he owned it now walks with his head down, avoiding my eyes, his hands always fidgeting. It's almost like he's crumbling before me, but I feel nothing. Jack's affair with Sophia was starting to unravel in ways I hadn't expected. He'd tried to keep it hidden at first, but his world, his perfect, polished world, was falling apart, and the cracks were beginning to show. His work life, once his fortress, was slipping through his fingers. I saw it in the way his colleagues started avoiding him. How his clients began to back out of deals. How his friends no longer called. The whispers about his personal life that I never wanted to hear but couldn't escape. Everyone knew. Everyone, and Sophia, she wasn't even hiding it anymore. I could tell from the way she was pulling away from him. I didn't know the details, but I could see it clearly enough. Her texts had stopped. The late-night calls stopped. He told me so many times that they were just friends, but I could feel her distancing herself, making her escape. Jack had become the one who was left behind. I didn't care about any of it. Not his fall from grace, not his loneliness. I wasn't going to feel sorry for him, not after everything he'd done to me, and yet, Jack came to me one evening, his face drawn with exhaustion, his eyes dark with guilt. He was standing in the doorway of our bedroom, looking like a shell of the man I once loved. Emma, he began, his voice barely a whisper. I need to talk to you. I didn't move. I didn't say anything. I just stared at him, cold and unmoving. He took a hesitant step forward, looking down at the floor. I messed up. I know. I can't believe I did this. I've lost everything, my career, my friends, you. And I deserve it. I know I do. But I want to make it right. I wanted to laugh, but all I could do was stare at him. His hands were trembling. His guilt was palpable. But none of it reached me. None of it mattered anymore. You think this is about you, Jack? I said, my voice low, barely above a whisper. You think your apologies and your guilt are going to fix everything? He flinched, but I didn't care. I wasn't the same. Personne n'aimera. I'm not going to be the woman who forgives you because you say the right words. I'm not going to be the woman who lets you off the hook because you finally see what you've done. You had your chance. His face twisted in pain. I know I don't deserve you, Emma. But please, I'm begging you, give me a chance. Let me prove to you that I can change. No, the word was so final, so freeing. I'm done, Jack. I can't keep living in the shadow of what you've done. I've spent too much time giving you chances, trying to fix things that are beyond fixing. His voice cracked. Emma, please. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to make you trust me again, but I'll do anything. I'll change. I'll do whatever it takes. I shook my head slowly, the weight of everything crashing over me. You don't get it, Jack. You don't get to control this. You don't get to decide how this ends. You've lost me, and no amount of apologies is going to change that. I could see the panic in his eyes. He was grasping at anything to get me back, but it was too late. I had already made my decision. Please, he whispered, stepping closer. I don't want to lose you. You already did. The words were sharp, but they weren't cruel. They were the truth. I was no longer that woman who would forgive everything just to hold on to something that was already broken. You lost me the moment you chose her. Jack's face crumpled, and I saw the pain, the real pain, in his eyes. But I didn't feel sympathy. Not anymore. His tears, his regret, they didn't matter to me. Not after everything. I took a deep breath, standing taller than I had in weeks, maybe even months. I'm done, Jack. I'm done with you, with the lies, with the guilt trips, with the broken promises. I've given you everything, and you've thrown it all away. I can't keep doing this. He opened his mouth to speak again, but I didn't want to hear it. I didn't need more excuses. I didn't need him to try to justify everything. I'm cutting ties with you, Jack, I said, my voice steady and resolute. This is over. For good. I saw the realization hit him, like a slap to the face. His jaw tightened, and he looked like he might say something else, but he didn't. He just stood there, staring at me, and I could see the finality in his eyes too. He knew I meant it. I'll always love you, he whispered, his voice breaking. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. He turned and walked out, and for the first time, I didn't feel any hesitation. I didn't feel like I was making a mistake. I didn't feel guilty. I just felt free. The next few days passed in a blur. The house felt different. Quieter. But there was a strange peace in the silence. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't holding on to the past. I wasn't waiting for Jack to fix things. I wasn't waiting for him to choose me. I had chosen myself, and that was enough. Jack's fall had been inevitable. His actions, his betrayal, they were always going to catch up with him. He might have lost everything, but that was his burden to bear, not mine. I had nothing left to prove. I didn't need him to apologize anymore. I didn't need to hear him beg. I had my own life to rebuild, my own future to focus on. And for the first time in a long time, I was ready to move forward without him. I wasn't broken anymore. I was stronger than I had ever been, and I was finally free. I never imagined it would feel like this. Free. After everything that happened, after all the pain, all the lies, I thought I would be stuck forever, stuck in the past, in the anger, in the hurt. But now, here I am, standing at the edge of a life I'm starting to build for myself, and it feels like I can breathe for the first time in years. Jack still lingers in my life, though. It's like a shadow I can't shake, no matter how hard I try. He calls. He texts. He shows up at my door with a bag of groceries or flowers, thinking that'll fix things. But nothing he does changes what I know now. He's the past. He's the reason I'm here, broken, but stronger, because of what he put me through. And I'm done letting him affect me. It was almost a week ago when I last heard from him. My phone buzzes, pulling me from my thoughts, and I see his name on the screen. A familiar knot tightens in my stomach, but this time, there's no anger, no ache, just a quiet resignation. I swipe the screen, not bothering to hide the exhaustion in my voice when I answer. What is it, Jack? Emma, can we talk? Please. I need to see you. I sigh, running my hand through my hair. I've been here before, listening to his apologies, his pleading. But this time, I'm not the same person. I'm not sure there's anything left to say. Just, please. I'm asking for one more chance. I know I screwed up. I know I can't undo the hurt I caused, but I can try to make it right. Please. I close my eyes, letting the silence stretch between us. I don't want to hear this anymore. I don't want to feel his guilt weighing on me. It's not my responsibility to fix him anymore. I've spent enough time trying to fix you, Jack, I say, my voice steady but firm. You don't get to come back into my life and expect me to drop everything just because you feel guilty now. You had your chance, and you blew it. There's a long pause on the other end. I can almost hear him trying to find the right words, but nothing can fix what's already been broken. Not this time, I'm sorry, he says quietly, almost as if he's finally giving up. I don't know what else to say, Emma. I want you back. I'm not the same person anymore, I reply, my voice surprisingly calm. And I don't think you are either, Jack. But that doesn't mean we can just pick up where we left off. I'm not who I was when you walked away. I'm not even who I was when you hurt me. And that's something you'll have to live with. Another silence stretches out, but it's not uncomfortable. It's just final. I feel no anger, no frustration. Just a quiet certainty that this is the end. I've been trying to make sense of all this, I continue, but the truth is, I don't need to. I don't need you anymore. I don't need to hold on to the hurt, to the anger. It's not about revenge, Jack. It's about me, getting my life back, taking care of myself, and finally moving forward. I let the words sink in, giving him time to process, but I'm not waiting for him to respond. I'm not waiting for him to change his mind. Goodbye, Jack, I say, the finality of it all settling over me. I'm done. And just like that, I hang up. No more words, no more back and forth. Just the quiet certainty that it's over. For a few days after that, I don't hear from him. I don't know if he's tried to call again, he probably has, but I don't care. It's a strange feeling, this indifference. I thought I would miss him, that I would feel some gnawing emptiness without him in my life, but it's not there. Instead, there's peace. There's room to breathe that I start going to the gym again. I take walks in the evenings, listening to music or just letting my thoughts roam freely without the weight of Jack's presence in my mind. I reconnect with old friends, the ones I had pushed away when I was too caught up in the toxic web Jack and I had woven. I start rediscovering parts of myself that I'd forgotten, parts of me that were always there, just buried under the hurt. I even pick up my old sketchbook one night, and I'm surprised by the quiet joy I feel as I draw. I forgot how much I loved it. How much it made me feel alive. I'm starting to realize that I've been living for everyone else for so long, trying to make things work with Jack, trying to keep the peace, trying to make up for his mistakes. But now, for the first time, I'm living for me. For who I am, without anyone else's expectations or demands. The phone rings one afternoon, and I don't even check the caller ID. I already know it's him. I let it ring and ring until it goes to voicemail. When I listen to the message later, it's the same as all the others. Apologies. Guilt. Regret. But there's nothing new. Nothing that matters anymore. It's just noise. I delete the message without replying, my finger hovering over the block button. But I don't press it. I don't need to block him anymore. He's already blocked from my life. Weeks pass, and Jack eventually fades into the background. I think about him less and less, and when I do, it's not with anger or bitterness, it's with a kind of acceptance. He was a part of my life, but he's not anymore. And I don't need him to be. One evening, I'm sitting in my favorite spot on the balcony, sipping wine and watching the sun dip below the horizon. I think about how far I've come, how much I've grown, how much I've healed, and then I think about what's next. I think about the future. For the first time in a long time, I'm excited about what's coming. There's no more Jack. No more broken promises. No more living in someone else's shadow, just me. And that feels more than enough. I take a deep breath, letting the cool evening air fill my lungs, and I smile. For the first time in years, I feel free. Truly free, and that's all I need.